Will listening to today's news help you learn English faster? Welcome to Adept English. I'm Hilary, and this is a Learn English Through Listening podcast. At Adept English, we are all about helping you learn to speak English through listening with interesting topics like news stories. Listening is the most important part of learning any language. So yes, listening to some interesting UK news stories is going to help you learn to understand and then speak English much faster. It really does work. I've seen this with so many learners over the years. So today, 3 interesting UK news stories that give you a chance to pick up really useful vocabulary, words and phrases from politics, economics, and working in the UK. If you want to pass an IELTS English speaking test or similar, this is excellent material for you. Listening is hugely important, and the good news is we make our English listening material interesting, topical, relevant, real UK English. Let's move to the first news story. Try to stay listening right to the end. So today I'm covering 3 news stories from around the UK. But these topics, these subject areas, they may concern you in your country as well. The issues and difficulties may be the same. Let us know. First news story. Let's dive into politics a bit, give you some context, some background to these news stories. So in the UK, our situation mirrors that of many countries in Europe. There is a lot of fear of the type of politics that is similar to Donald Trump's parties or groups on the so-called right, R-I-G-H-T, the right of politics. In the UK, the fear comes from the Reform Party and Nigel Farage, who is, of course, Donald Trump's friend. And it's similar in France. There's fear that the right-wing party associated with Marine Le Pen, Rassemblement National, or RN, could be successful at the next election. Marine Le Pen doesn't lead that party anymore, but you'll probably recognise her name. And actually, there are 6 EU countries which have what are called hard right governments at the moment. So governments that are pretty right-wing, as we say. These are Italy, Finland, Slovakia, Hungary, Croatia, and the Czech Republic. And I say there is a lot of fear in the UK about reform. There are also a lot of people, obviously, who might support the Reform Party. Basic political knowledge here. What is called the right, R-I-G-H-T, or right wing, and left, L-E-F-T, or left wing in politics. It means the same whatever language you're in. If you're talking about the left of politics, the extreme would be Karl Marx. And if you're talking about the right of politics, the extreme would be fascism, F-A-S-C-I-S-M, with American-style ultra-capitalism on the way to that. It's a continuum, of course. It's a range, R-A-N-G-E, from left to right. And no extreme political party is going to be elected in the UK, and the governments I've mentioned in the EU are hard right, not extreme right. But the current UK government, who are moderate left, are frightened that the working class in the UK, that means the people who don't have money, who are not rich, are feeling left out, not taken care of. And that right-wing parties like the right-wing Reform Party of Nigel Farage will appeal to them, appeal to working-class people. And this is what is known also as populist politics, P-O-P-U-L-I-S-T. And it's a force and looks similar in many countries. It's what's happened in the US. That's why Trump is president, because populist policies appeal to a lot of people. So one of the actions that Keir Starmer, our Labour Prime Minister in the UK, Keir Starmer has announced they are going to invest in poor areas of the country and they're going to revive the high street. The high street is the row of shops in every town and village. Why is this needed? Well, the British high street is not in a good shape. High local taxation, known as business rates, high cost of rent, RENT, and competition from online sellers. Everybody in the UK likes to shop online. All of this has caused many high street shops to close, particularly in poor areas where people don't have a lot of money. So many high streets look closed up and miserable. So Keir Starmer announced this week a Pride in Place programme with money for over 330 poor areas in the UK. It's part of the fight against the Reform UK Party. New powers will be given to local groups of people to take over boarded up shops, to save pubs that have closed, and to stop all those gambling and vape stores on the high streets. This is trying to encourage working class people, those who are very unhappy and who might vote Reform. Keir Starmer is trying to encourage them that the Labour Party are doing something for them. It's part of a bigger plan announced last summer to help poor areas, that's POOR, across the UK to improve parks, youth facilities, swimming pools and libraries as well. I think that people are unhappy because of high taxes, TAXES. They're unhappy because the Labour government has arguably damaged the economy by putting a higher tax on employers. So there aren't as many jobs around. That's the national insurance increase. Lots of people can't find work because of that. And also the cost of living. That means the cost of basic things like food, housing, and energy. Prices have risen massively. I'm not sure that making the high street look better or improving swimming pools is going to make that much difference. I won't vote Reform, but I can see why lots of people might. It promises people something different at least. It's very much like the Trump effect in America. Is this happening in your country? I wonder. Are so-called populist and right-wing parties gaining support? And do you agree with this? Or are you absolutely against it? Second UK news story. Another UK government announcement. Like many European countries, the UK has a lot of debt. DEBT. We owe a lot of money. We have borrowed too much. That's to borrow, BORROW. The UK economy is not doing as well as hoped, and yet there's a need for the government to raise money because moderate left governments like Labour's like to spend quite a lot. They offer a lot of state support for people, in other words. And the government minister in the UK who's in charge of the money is the Chancellor. That's CHANCELLOR. And currently that's Rachel Reeves. As I mentioned earlier, arguably it's her higher tax on employers that has caused some of the problems in the economy. But what is Rachel Reeves saying now? Well, she's saying the UK will make it easier to attract talented foreign workers, talented people from other countries, just at a time when the US is making it much harder to work there if you're not an American citizen. Over the last few years, it's become much harder to live and work in a different country. And under Donald Trump, it's become extremely difficult to work there if you're not American. Donald Trump announced just last week that he was going to increase the cost of visas that employers pay to recruit people from other countries. It costs a huge amount of money. So this will discourage them even more from hiring foreign workers. And you can't be in the US longer than 90 days if you don't have a visa. So Rachel Reeves is trying to do the opposite. Rachel Reeves said in a speech last week, and this is your chance to work on some more difficult English, London isn't just the capital of the United Kingdom. It's one of the 2 financial capitals in the world. And we want to differentiate ourselves from other countries by being open to the best talent globally. She said, while President Trump announced last week that it will be harder to bring talent to the US, we want to make it easier to bring talent to the UK. The best global talent, that means the most skilled workers from around the world. So this may be good news for you if you're interested in living and working in the UK. Third news story. This one is about work and employment. It's more social than political, and it came from the website Fast Company, an article 29th of September 2025, so up to the minute as usual, with the title, Is the Return to Office Push Backfiring on Employers? The verb to backfire, B-A-C-K-F-I-R-E, if you take an action and it backfires, it means the outcome, the result, is the opposite from what you wanted. The verb to backfire, we might use that of a gun. If it fires backwards, that's not the outcome you wanted. So that's to backfire. So employers in the UK and around the world are still trying to get people back into the office after the pandemic. And employees are resistant. Many don't want to come back into the office full time. People like WFH, as we call it, work from home. It's great, at least 2 to 3 days of the week. And we call this hybrid working. Hybrid, H-Y-B-R-I-D. It means a mix of 2 things. So if you do hybrid working, it means that you're in the office 2 to 3 days a week and you work from home 2 to 3 days a week. People like this balance. Work from home is also called remote working, R-E-M-O-T-E. This is really useful vocabulary. Research from Stanford shows that hybrid working means employees are just as productive, equally likely to be promoted, and 33% less likely to resign, to leave their job, than workers who are in the office full time. Other studies have shown that remote or hybrid working reduces sick days, reduces the number of days off sick, limits distraction, and improves satisfaction, all of which support the performance of employees. So this article is talking about how employers who mandate, M-A-N-D-A-T-E, who force people back into the office, are likely to have less happy employees. It's been made normal and acceptable these days to work from home, and people like that flexibility. Go into the office for in-person meetings and connection with your colleagues, and work from home for more focused work where you don't want to be disturbed. It's also better for people's health and well-being. Work from home. It reduces stress. I think hybrid working is here to stay, and employers who don't offer this and insist on return to the office better look out. The article in Fast Company and the research say, hybrid model boosts collaboration and creativity. RTO or return to office mandates are really unpopular. The focus needs to shift to the outcomes of people's work, not their physical presence in the office, or bums on seats, as we call it in informal English. Treat people as adults. Judge them on what they deliver, not how many hours they're in the office for. These are such relevant issues. If you need to practice the words and phrases in this podcast, to listen again. Otherwise, coming up, another news podcast from Adept English.